With Mark Hilliard from the Chamber of Commerce, brought to you by Marcus and Mack, a law firm representing injured people. And Mark, gosh, you've been everywhere the last couple of weeks. My goodness, you're a busy man.
Busier than you'd want to be in some of these cases, but but yeah, it's a good thing though. I'd rather be busy than kind of being stuck in the office or being stuck at home, and that means we're working on a lot of things. So we're trying to get back to somewhat normal, and there's a lot of other things that are coming up that require attention as well for Indiana County. So we're doing a lot.
All right, so maybe at some point we'll get to talk a little bit about your experience last week and testifying before a committee of the state legislature. But I want to talk about something coming up. And speaking of the legislature, Eggs and Issues is on the way again. This has become a really, really neat feature that the Chamber of Commerce puts on. It gives us a chance for that one-on-one contact with our state lawmakers.
Yes, the ones that represent Indiana County. We are going to be having them this Friday at Indiana Country Club. And we have it under the tent outside, so it's going to be set up to be social distanced, and everybody's going to be safe, and they're going through all the proper guidelines. We do ask that you bring a mask, as you're walking to your seat. We will have masks available if somebody would need some. And we're also going to have it on Zoom as well. So if you are unable to attend in person, and by the way, if you're going to attend in person, you would have to call this morning. I think we were at a hard deadline here this morning. But you can contact our office. But if not, we're going to be sending out that Zoom link and posting it on our Facebook page and emailing it out later on here in the next couple days. So that should be available, and anybody should be able to watch it, and you'll be able to submit questions. And that's the one thing I want to stress is if you have any questions for the state legislators, whether you're going to be there in person or watching it online, you can email us to questions@indianacountychamber.com. That's questions, plural, at indianacountychamber.com, and submit your questions. We already have a number of them that we've already started going through. A lot, there's a lot of common themes with some of those questions, as I'm sure you'd imagine, but we're still willing to take more, so please submit those to us, and we're anxious to be able to talk to our legislators about that and hear what they have to say, and you get some breakfast out of it, too.
There you go. Do me a favor, bump that microphone up a little bit. We talk about our lawmakers all the time. We talk with our lawmakers all the time, but this is a chance to really yes. get your questions answered in an open forum. So who's going to be there?
So Representative Struzzi, Representative Dush, and Senator Pittman. So we have three. Sometimes we get five of them, but we've had a couple of reasonable reasons why they're not going to be able to make it. So certainly we understand with Representative Powell and Representative Petrarca. So we are happy with the three that are going to be there, and they're anxious too, and they were really looking forward to trying to hold something somewhat in person, although we knew there'd be some restrictions involved with it. But it's kind of a laid-back way to be able to ask questions with some of these folks and be able to hear their answers directly, and it's kind of like a town hall meeting with multiple legislators at once, and it's kind of done in a casual setting. So we're looking forward to it. It's this Friday, and again, it starts at 8 o'clock, runs about an hour. Sometimes it goes a little bit over than that, hour and a half. But again, if you're interested in attending, you can contact our office and attend, get your tickets right away. If not, then we will send out that Zoom link, and you can follow along live no matter where you are. And I should also mention the entire event is sponsored by Penelec, so we're very happy for them to be involved with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you mentioned you've gotten a whole bunch of responses already from people who are interested. What are some of the topics that people are interested in? Can you clue us in a little bit?
Sure. Obviously we're getting a lot related to COVID relief efforts. A couple things related to their interactions with the governor. Some questions about Reggie, which you hinted at earlier in terms of where I was last week. And then some things, I know a couple of the questions were related to rural broadband. We've had one or two about property taxes. So I mean, a lot of these are common themes that you would hear about normally, and probably if you were going to guess which ones were going to be the main topics, those are the ones that stand out. But we're trying to go through them and find a way to ask all the questions and try to make sure that everybody's taken care of and covered. In terms of those who ask the questions. But I mean, these guys are kind of expecting, I'm sure, a lot of questions about Reggie and COVID and rural broadband and property taxes. So Those are the kind of the four main themes I think that we've seen. There's a couple of other questions on other topics, but the main ones that we've gotten so far have been related to those four.
Well, those particular gentlemen who will be there on Friday, they've all been pretty vocal critics of the administration and some of the moves that the administration has made. I'm sure that you and everybody else would welcome, or they would welcome, any questions from the opposing side of the argument, because it is, an argument is exactly what is broken out between the administration on all of these topics and our state legislature.
Absolutely. I don't think they would shy away from anything. Even if you're not agreeing with them, I think that's even more of a reason for you to ask where they stand and why they stand on certain issues. And the responses that I've heard, I think they'll give very pointed answers on a lot of those questions. So yeah, if you don't have to agree with them to ask them a question on one of these topics. In fact, I think it would probably be better if you didn't in some cases, because I think you would get a better answer. So please submit the questions, no matter which side of the fence you're on any of these topics. And don't be afraid to ask some tougher questions.
Yeah, they would welcome that because it furthers the public discussion of very, very important topics. We're talking with Mark Hilliard. Before we move on to another topic, give the number again for folks who want to call so that they can get in. They're going to have to call today.
Yes, it's 465-2511. So again, 465-2511. And, even if you're not able to join and you don't get on Facebook, you'd like us to send you that Zoom link for the event, you can call the office as well, and we can send that. And, again, to submit questions at indianacountychamber.com.
There you go. All right. So I do want to get to your testimony last week. You gave it before the Senate Environmental Resources and Energy Committee. It had to do with the RGGI regulations and the potential harm that they would have for Indiana County. You didn't pull any numbers or any punches in that. You actually had numbers. You had statistics of the projections for how harmful it would be.
Yeah, we've looked at a number of studies, and unfortunately, you just don't see too many studies that have shown the economic benefit from it. And there is a clear loss of jobs that would occur, and part of my testimony was related to how many jobs directly and indirectly would be lost. And the Allegheny Conference has done studies on this, and you're looking at a multiplier almost of 3 for every job that is lost, meaning so every job you lose, you can multiply that times 3 in terms of the indirect jobs. So those jobs, from people maybe not directly at those power plants. And in some cases, national studies have shown that number to be even higher. So you're talking about thousands of jobs that are lost. And some of the other studies that have been done recently, and these are neutral parties who are conducting these, and consultant groups are looking at Indiana, Cambria, and Armstrong counties, and the potential economic impact is over $1 billion, almost $1.5 billion between those 3 counties. And as I said during the hearing, I mean, we're not talking about Allegheny County here. These are 3 smaller counties. And that's huge. And you think about the wages that are lost and that money that's not being able to be spent. And I don't like the argument that, we're going to take all this money from RGGI and invest it in job training and new jobs. Well, my point has always been, well, if the power plant's shut down, where are you going to get that money? Because you don't have those power plants to tax. And then these power plants very likely will shut down if that is imposed. They just can't afford to stay open. So you have all of these jobs of people that are highly specialized jobs with certain skill sets that just are not easily transferable. And in order to take another job, we support clean energy. We support, looking at different resources like that. But at the same time, you can't say that the pay and the salary for a coal job, you can just transfer that to wind or solar, because the average salary is much, much less. So you're talking about brand new training, almost starting over, not just in your training, but also in your salary. And so many people, they're just not going to do that. They're going to move away. And you look at other areas where this has happened, and that's exactly what happened. And you lose all these people, then you lose all these businesses, and then what are you left with? It's just, there are other ways to go about doing this, and to try to push forward on something that really just does. I don't see a whole lot of positive economic impact. You see a ton of negative. I just think there needs to be more discussion rather than trying to push this forward without really having any discussions. And we certainly open it up for having the governor come to Indiana County and talk with us. We haven't heard anything yet, but we're still, that invitation is still there.
Well, those are 2 of the points that were made very strongly last week. Was Number one, the governor has not been responsive, even though the governor on that very day had his spokesperson come out saying, yeah, I'm willing to do that, but they still won't do it. And the second thing is the carbon capture technology that was being talked about last week. Now, as it is, our power plants do actually exceed EPA guidelines,
yes.
do they not, for
yes.
carbon capturing and emissions. And so we're already ahead of the game there, and there is new carbon capture technology that could be installed that they're very much in favor of and would love to install and clean it up even more. But we're ahead of the game as it is, and yet this would be something that would shut us down, and shut us down quickly. It would not
yes.
be long. It would be within a year that our power plants would shut down.
Yeah, it's not worth it. In terms of what the power plants are already doing, we're already meeting those requirements and exceeding them, as you said. So they're doing things and they're still working on other ways to continue to be safer for the environment. So, we're already taking those steps. Why are we looking at doing something that's just going to crush our local economies? And believe me, this is going to have an impact across Pennsylvania. And the big thing for the taxpayer is not just the loss of jobs and things like that, but the other areas where this has been implemented, those energy taxes, your energy bill is going up. If this is passed, there's just no way around that. It's going to impact you because your energy bill is going to go up. There is no other there's no other way to put that. To be blunt. So it's going to impact every single person, and really, it just creates such a competitive disadvantage for our entire state. We had other issues with natural gas and taxes that were placed on certain businesses, and we can't keep putting restrictions on businesses and expect to still be competitive in this Commonwealth. It's just not going to work. So we have to find ways to encourage businesses to come here and not find ways to push them out.
Yeah, the Homer Center School District, the United School District for the power plants down in Seward, they would certainly be really, really crippled by by the RGGI regulations.
Yeah, I said one of my comments was, the governor has talked about, jobs that pay and schools that teach and government that works. And, here you're pushing something that's taking away jobs that pay and likely going to either close or consolidate schools that teach. So if that's government working, I don't think a lot of people want that kind of government. So it's frustrating. And being a Homer Center graduate, too, and my father, who had worked at the power plant, growing up. So, I understand where this is coming from, and it really hits home for me. But you're concerned about those schools, you're concerned about those jobs in those communities. We just can't afford this. There's just not enough evidence anywhere to show me any kind of benefit. Even the states that have already entered into RGGI, the impact that it has had on their carbon, it's just so minimal or negligible that it's just, you're wondering, why are we trying to do something that's going to hurt and cripple the economies in some cases for something that's really not going to make much of a difference at all. Right. So it's difficult. We're going to keep fighting the fight, though. Absolutely. Going to keep doing that. And eggs and issues, certainly the RGGI question will come up before our lawmakers. On Friday at the Indiana Country Club, once more, Mark, one last chance. Tell them how they can get there and how they can participate. Well, if you're interested, you don't want to hear me talk, you'd like to hear it straight from the mouth of the legislators, call 465-2511. Get your tickets. You'll have to do that this morning. Otherwise, keep an eye out for our link on Facebook and through email. We're going to have a link that you can watch it live and follow along with the entire event live on Zoom. Very good. And it's questions at indianacountychamber.com. So get those in. You can get those in all the way up until Friday morning. Mark, thanks for being here. Thanks, Todd. Thanks for being here. Thanks, Todd. Thanks for being here.